My constellation is the Corona Borealis by Mr. Muller. Illustration: the Corona Borealis is one of the only constellations whose name translates into exactly what it looks like, which is a crown. And we'll get into that later in the PowerPoint. And the Alphecca right here is the brightest star in the constellation, which I will also get into in a later slide. Where is it located? The Corona Borealis lies between the constellation Boötes and Hercules, and it also lies between the third quadrant of the northern hemisphere, and it can be seen at the latitudes between +90 and -50. And as you can see here in the picture I have here, this is the Hercules constellation. This is Boötes, that constellation, and right here is the Corona Borealis, right in between here, and you can see it right here. Looks like kind of a crown, which is why it is named the Corona Borealis. When is it visible? The constellation Corona Borealis is visible in the northern hemisphere, and it is visible in the spring and in the summer. And here's a close-up picture of the constellation right here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars, which I will also get into a little bit later, which are the dots represented right here. So that is a closer look at the constellation. What stars make up the constellation? Alpha Coronae Borealis, or Alphecca, which is what it's more commonly known as, is the brightest star in the constellation. Theta, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, and Lambda Coronae Borealis are the other 6 stars in the constellation. So as I said earlier, there are 7 stars that make up the constellation Corona Borealis, and Alphecca is in fact the brightest star of the 7. How did it get its name? I've been talking about that a little bit. The name means the northern crown, which is translated into Latin, and it is named to represent the crown that was given to Princess Ariadne, which I will talk about that in the next slide. So like I said before, it is one of the only constellations whose name is translated into exactly what it looks like, which is a crown. What is the myth of this constellation? The Corona Borealis, it is associated with the myth of Princess Ariadne of Crete, and she is famous for helping the Greek hero Theseus defeat the Minotaur, and a Minotaur is a creature with a human body and the head of a bull. So in that myth, Ariadne married the god Dionysus, and the circlet of stars in that constellation, like I've talked about, is representing the crown that she wore on her wedding day. So that is the myth, and how, once again, it kind of got its name and the myth behind that constellation. And fun facts, I have 2 fun facts here. The Corona Borealis is the 73rd constellation in size, and it occupies an area of 179 square degrees. And the Corona Borealis belongs to the Ursa major family of constellations. So that is everything you need to know about the constellation Corona Borealis.